All right, I'm going to talk about, I would get people asking when you cook, what do you put in it, and stuff. So um, my main essentials, like it's almost like my soup Bible, or when I cook, you know what I mean? Like I always make sure I have a lot of minced garlic and ginger. I would stay away from the powder version of the garlic and the powder version of the ginger. They are disgusting. They taste nothing like garlic, they taste nothing like ginger, and they smell different, and it's just crap, okay? The powder version is so overly processed that it's just not real. So don't even put that in your food. Seriously, don't put that in your food. When you compare that to the real fresh ginger root, okay, after you cut around it to peel off the skin, that is amazingly so fresh and so healthy that all the natural antioxidants, the vitamins and minerals in it are just so fresh and amazing that it's going to boost up your immune system a lot. And the antioxidants are also supposed to help clear up your sinus. Like garlic and ginger is known to clear up your sinus, and it's very good for your blood. And ginger has always been a very important ingredient in part of Asian medicine, okay? So it's been historically embedded in Asian medicine, like ginger is so healthy, okay? Well, garlic is healthy too, sorry. And so when I cook, so in my soups, garlic and ginger is very strong, very potent, After you start mincing it up, like chopping up very fine pieces, you should put that in with your soup when it's into your soup first, okay? Like you boil water first, and then you go ahead and put your raw meat in there so it gets cooked. I recommend boiling your meat up to about an hour for it to soften up. And I do recommend it with the bones because the bone is what gives it more a brothier flavor, meat flavor to it. And I would, along with the meat, I would throw in the garlic and ginger that's already chopped up, because the garlic and ginger is so potent that it's very spicy. Okay, it'll kind of burn your lungs and burn up your nose a bit because it's too strong. So you have to boil it for a while for it to get into the soup water, for it to be diluted, okay, for it to be cooked more. Because if you eat it too fresh, you're gonna have a lot of burning sensation like an onion, okay? So I boil it up. I would boil it on slow. First of all, have it boil more rapidly first, and then turn it down with the lid covered the whole time, okay? Because if you have your lid open, all the nutrients is going to eventually get evaporated too quickly. So you have to cover it and cook it, simmer it slowly, cook it slowly. After it boils, then turn it down to a lower level of heat, and then have it boil a little, okay? You don't want it boiling too rapidly because the temperature is still going to be at that boiling temperature, okay? It's just that the more rapid it boils, the more that your soup is going to evaporate. So you just have to cover it with a lid and turn it down to a much lower temperature. As long as it's boiling a little bit, bubbling a bit, that should be fine. So, and then you can decide what else you want to put in it, okay? So, for potatoes, you only need to have it in a boiling setting for about 30 minutes, and it's ready to eat. You're going to have to chop it into 1 inch by 1 inch blocks size, which is fine. And if you boil it for 30 minutes, it's ready to eat already, okay? Carrots, about the same, about 30 minutes is fine. Carrots could be a little more firm than potatoes because potatoes are more starchy. They break down more easily into like mashed potatoes instead. So, celery, I recommend you to wait at the very end when the soup is done, and then put the celery in, because the celery can get softened and watered down very quickly as well. And broccoli, I don't recommend broccoli in a soup. I recommend broccoli to be put in at the end as a form of garnishment, because broccoli, once you cook it, it starts to yellow and it starts to spoil really fast. So it's kind of gross. It gives off like a sour flavor to it, okay? So broccoli, I recommend to cut it down into little bits and pieces, and I recommend that as part of a garnishment at the end when you're ready to eat, okay? Put it in fresh. Don't put it in as part of the boiling big pot, because once you throw in a big pot, I guarantee you, you will see what I mean, because the broccoli will start turning really bright green cooking, and after that, it's gonna start overcooking itself, and when you reheat it again in the microwave or in a pan when you're ready to eat it again, it's gonna get even more overcooked and it's gonna start spoiling the soup. It's really gross. So broccoli, I recommend as just part of a garnishment treat when you're ready to eat it. What else you could use? Kale, the same way too. Kale, the green kale and also the green spinach leaves, I recommend that separately at the end also. Just treat it like the broccoli as well, because spinach leaves, they bleed into your soup. It turns your soup kind of green, okay? So I recommend the spinach leaves to be part of a garnishment when you're almost ready to eat it, and then you put it at the very end of the soup. If you boil the soup, but when you're ready, when the soup is done, then put the spinach leaves into the soup in a small pan, however much portion you want, okay? And that you will finish up, okay? So then you can use it as a garnishment. Same thing with the kale. You know, you could garnish that as well when you're ready to eat your portion. And then if you cook a small pan separately, when you're done with the soup, then you can throw the kale in the end and then stir it up and then take it out immediately, because the kale will start cooking up real fast. Like I said, if you overcook the kale, the green spinach leaves, or the green broccoli, they start turning yellow and pretty gross, and they start spoiling immediately. Okay, so I don't know, and that's pretty much just a good example of how to prepare your soup. And if you like eggs, if you want more protein in your diet, for example, with the soup again, the eggs are best to be done, like let's say that you boil a pot of water, okay? And once it starts boiling a little rapid, you can start cracking your eggs, and just right when you crack your egg, you could try to split it in the middle of the yolk to break it up and kind of like drizzle, let it drizzle in a circle in the boiling pot of water. Okay, that will help break up the egg, because if you just crack the whole egg in there, it'll just clump up in a ball and it'll just boil up your egg yolk as a whole. Okay, but what you want is like an even spread of ingredients. So you kind of might want to either break up all the eggs into a bowl, separate bowl, and then poke at the yolk and then swirl around a little bit. And then when you wait for if you're going to do it that way, then you have to make sure that your pot of water is boiling very rapidly, because right when you pour that cold temperature of eggs, it's going to make your soup temperature go down really fast. So so that's just another way of cooking, just to give you, an idea of what vegetables you want to use, when is the best time to put it into a hot pot so it doesn't overcook and start spoiling. And what else? And if you want to use some green onions, use that as a separate garnishment as well, because that will start spoiling too. So just use it at the very end when you're ready to eat your soup. Once you're at the dinner table, then you add the green onions, chopped onions, as a garnishment for the topping. Same thing, if you like cilantro, use it as a separate garnishment topping as well. And what else? I guess that's it. So don't forget your minced garlic and ginger, which is extremely healthy for you. Okay, take care.